James Anderson grew up in a small town in Georgia, raised by a single mother who worked two jobs just to put food on the table. James wasn't the best student in school, not because he lacked intelligence, but because his mind was always somewhere else, helping his mom, taking care of his younger siblings, or working odd jobs after school to help pay the bills. When James graduated high school, college wasn't an option. He needed to earn money right away. He applied to work at his former high school, not as a teacher, but as a janitor. Some of his old classmates would see him in the hallways and make fun of him, snickering that he hadn't gone far in life. But James held his head high. He cleaned those classrooms with pride, showing up early and leaving late. One day, while scrubbing the floor of the school library, the principal, Mrs. Randall, saw him reading a used textbook during his break. She noticed his interest and struck up a conversation. To her surprise, James could speak eloquently about American history and literature. Moved by his hunger for knowledge, Mrs. Randall encouraged him to attend community college at night. It wasn't easy. James worked from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., then attended classes until 10 p.m. Sometimes he would fall asleep with a book on his chest, but he never gave up. After years of balancing work and study, James earned his associate's degree, then his bachelor's in education, and eventually a master's in school administration. With each step, he never quit his job as a janitor until the day he was offered a teaching position at the very school where he mopped floors. 10 years later, James Anderson walked into the same school, not as a janitor, not even as a teacher, but as its principal. At his first assembly as principal, he stood in front of students and staff and said, "Never let where you start define where you'll finish. I used to clean these floors, and now I lead this school, not because I'm special, but because I refuse to stop believing that I could be more." His story became a symbol of perseverance in his community. James mentored struggling students, hired former dropouts as staff, and reminded everyone that dignity isn't tied to titles. It's in the effort you give and the heart you put into every job, no matter how small it may seem.